In the quiet streets of Willow Creek, everything looked perfect. White fences, trimmed hedges, neighbors who smiled on cue. Among them lived Emma Carter, a devoted wife and mother of two. Her days passed in routine: school drop-offs, laundry, coffee with the ladies. But behind her gentle smile, a storm was brewing. It started with Noah, a 24-year-old who moved in next door. He was charming, curious, and far too interested in Emma. At first, it was harmless: brief chats on the porch, a shared laugh over gardening tips. But days turned into weeks, and soon Noah was spending more time in Emma's house than her own husband. They knew it was dangerous. They promised it would end. But temptation has a way of blurring lines. One morning, the mailman noticed the front door ajar. Inside, silence. In the living room, blood, shattered glass, and a lifeless body on the floor. The living room was a wreck. Books on the floor, a lamp overturned, and in the center, a lifeless man in a pool of blood. It was Noah, his expression frozen in terror, his shirt soaked crimson. A neighbor found him and called the police. Soon, Willow Creek was swarming with flashing lights and whispers. Detective Reed and Officer Carla were first on scene. Reed knew immediately. This wasn't a burglary or a simple fight. The body showed signs of struggle: bruises, torn skin, broken fingernails. But the strangest clue lay just beyond the chaos. A single red high heel by the hallway door. Expensive, feminine, familiar. In the bedroom, Carla found signs of a rushed exit. Clothes on the floor, the scent of perfume still in the air. A phone buzzed unanswered on the nightstand. Emma was nowhere to be found. And that silence, it was louder than any scream. Detective Reed didn't sleep that night. The clues were scattered, but one thing was clear. This wasn't a random act of violence. It was personal. The morning started with interviews, beginning with Mr. Carter, the neighbor who found Noah's body. He recalled hearing faint voices and something falling in Emma's house the night before, but shrugged it off as nothing. Then came the calls. Several neighbors claimed to have seen Emma's teenage son, Luke, near Noah's home late at night. Reed brought Luke in for questioning. The boy was tense, unfocused, his answers mechanical. When Reed brought up Noah, Luke froze, and when Emma's name came up, his composure cracked. He said they were just neighbors, but Reed saw the tremor in his voice. Later that day, Reed visited Emma's sister. Tearfully, she admitted Emma had been distant, secretive, and often out late. Something was unraveling fast, and Reed knew this web was about to catch someone who never saw it coming. Detective Reed returned to Emma's house, but found it empty. Her sudden disappearance after Noah's murder was too much to ignore. Reed ordered alerts to hospitals and nearby towns, hoping to track her down before she vanished completely. Meanwhile, Officer Carla began a quiet search of Luke's room. It didn't take long to find what they needed. Luke's phone was full of late-night texts to Emma, more than mother and son should ever share. Some hinted at desperation, plans to run, fears of being caught. When they searched Emma's study, they uncovered handwritten letters, passionate, frantic, outlining a secret plan to leave Willow Creek behind. But with Noah dead, it seemed their plan had spiraled out of control. The final clue came from Luke's diary. Page after page chronicled his obsession with Emma, his jealousy of Noah, and a final note: he knows. Tomorrow, everything changes. Reed exhaled slowly. This quiet town was darker than anyone imagined. And Emma, she was still out there. Detective Reed pieced it together. Noah must have uncovered the affair. That night, he stormed into Emma's house, furious. A neighbor later remembered hearing shouts, then silence, and seeing a shadow slip into the night. Reed brought Luke back in, armed with the diary and letters. Luke crumbled. Tearfully, he confessed. Noah had caught him and Emma together. The argument turned violent. Luke swung. Noah fell and never got up again. Panicked, Luke and Emma plotted to vanish, but Emma was still missing. Reed widened the search, pushing out alerts across state lines. Hospitals, bus stations, even small motels were sent her photo. As the sun set over Willow Creek, Reed knew the case wasn't closed. Somewhere out there, Emma was running from the law, from her past, and maybe even from herself. Detective Reed knew Emma couldn't stay hidden forever. Meanwhile, Carla dug deeper into Luke's phone records, uncovering dozens of calls to a mysterious out-of-state number. A quick trace led them to an aging uncle in coastal Maine. When Reed knocked on his door, the old man's hands trembled. He admitted Emma had shown up days earlier, rambling about secrets and saying, "I can't run anymore, but I can't stay either." She'd left soon after, headed for the wind-swept shore. Following the lead, Reed and Carla checked seaside inns. At a lonely cliffside motel, they found her name, faked but still there. The manager said she rarely left her room. Reed knocked gently. "Emma, it's over. "Open the door." A long pause. Then the door creaked open. Emma stood there, haunted and hollow-eyed, finally ready to speak. Through tears, she confessed it hadn't been meant to happen, that fear, rage, and love had all collided that night. Reed knew then this wasn't just a case, it was a tragedy. Back in Belfast, Detective Reed booked Emma into custody, determined to match her story against the cold weight of evidence. Forensics confirmed it. Noah's blood was all over Emma's living room. Prints from Emma and Luke covered every surface, along with signs of a desperate struggle. Financial records sealed it. Days before the murder, Emma and Luke drained their accounts, planning to disappear. It wasn't premeditated murder, but a spiral of passion, fear, and reckless decisions. Reed dove deeper into their letters and texts. Emma longed for escape from a stale marriage. Luke craved more than thrill. He saw Emma as his only lifeline. When Noah hired a private investigator to tail them, it shattered everything. Confronted by betrayal, fury erupted. Now, as Reed assembled the final files for court, he knew this wouldn't just haunt Emma and Luke. It would stain Willow Creek's memory for years. A warning of how hidden desires can turn lethal. Detective Reed saw it clearly now. Noah, determined to defend his family's honor, confronted Emma and Luke, only to ignite the spark that burned everything down. Meanwhile, Carla pressed Emma harder. Emma broke down, admitting she never meant for things to spiral. Her marriage was cold, loveless. Luke offered passion she hadn't felt in years, but guilt gnawed at her. She knew it was doomed from the start. Reed revisited the crime scene one last time. That's when he noticed faint smears of blood trailing away from where Noah fell. It suggested the body had been moved. Panic, not premeditation. Piecing it together, Reed finalized his report. This wasn't a calculated killing, but the tragic climax of jealousy, loneliness, and reckless love. As the trial loomed, Reed knew justice would be served. Yet deep down, he also knew this case would haunt Willow Creek and him for the rest of their lives. By morning, Detective Reed and Officer Carla sat with the district attorney, who reviewed every grim detail. With a heavy nod, he authorized the arrests. First was Luke. At home, he sat hollow-eyed among childhood photos, an image of lost innocence. "Luke Carter, you're under arrest for the murder of Noah Carter," Reed said, cuffing him. Luke offered no fight. The weight of his choices had already crushed him. Then came Emma. In her cell, she barely reacted, staring blankly ahead until Reed read the charge. Accessory after the fact. Her eyes shimmered, as if grateful it was finally over. News spread quickly through Willow Creek. Neighbors whispered, shocked that love, fear, and betrayal could shatter lives so close to home. In court, the case unfolded with chilling clarity. Texts, letters, testimonies laid bare the fatal collision of passion and secrecy. Luke and Emma both pleaded guilty. Sentences were handed down, but the real punishment was written across their haunted faces. As Reed stepped out into the sun, he realized justice had been served, but peace was a distant dream for Willow Creek and for him. In the end, Willow Creek would never be the same. A quiet town, once defined by porch lights and polite nods, had been shaken by a tragedy born of passion, secrecy, and fear. Detective Reed and Officer Carla uncovered the tangled lives of Emma and Luke, two souls who mistook forbidden love for escape. Noah's murder was not the work of hardened criminals, but of ordinary people driven by desperation, blinded by desire. As the courtroom doors closed and sentences were read, justice was done, but at a price. Families shattered, trust eroded, and an entire community left questioning how well they ever knew their neighbors. Reed walked away knowing his badge wasn't just about catching killers. It was about understanding the fragile lines people cross when longing, loneliness, and panic collide. In Willow Creek, life carried on, but the echoes of this case lingered. A sobering reminder that beneath the surface of any peaceful town, human hearts can harbor dangerous storms.